Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Grimm Chronicles. Probably a pretty short episode. The semester is underway. I had my first day yesterday, and it was really kind of weird to be... First of all, it was weird to be back in the classroom face-to-face since 2020, March 2020. So almost, like over a year. So that was very odd. And then, of course, the masks. We were all masked, and I'm very grateful that the students were very sweet about it. They were all just sitting there masked. And I'm not sure why, but one upshot is that they weren't on their machine, they weren't on their devices. I'm used to them hunched over their phones until I tell them to put them away. And they were all just sitting there. Maybe it was a first day thing. This was actually, for quite a few of my students, it was the first day of university or college. So, and as someone told me, it's also the first day for people who are sophomores who have not been in a classroom much at all. So there's this weird sense of the sophomores also feeling like freshmen, which is really interesting. It's sad too. I mean, COVID is just such a sad thing to have happened to the world. Anyway, but I was glad to be back. I am kind of experiencing strange, so I have self-diagnosed, but my doctor agrees that my mild rheumatoid arthritis has morphed into something like fibromyalgia, so joint pain and point pressure pain and just kind of a pain syndrome type thing. It's not too bad. I always, I try to keep it under control, and I do a pretty good job of that. I have my crutches, which we won't get into. They're fine, don't worry. I'm not too dependent on any of them, but I am a little dependent on my crutches, and a lot of my crutches are things like the cats, or reading wonderful books, eating good food. So where was I? It was my little chat here. Yeah, so yeah, I am noticing some flaring of my various joint issues. I mean, but on the other hand, I'm sort of the adrenaline or the excitement and fun of just being around people more is also kind of a good thing. So I have to be careful. I have to watch out to not crash too much. And I've already told Bill, my husband, who's also my chauffeur, he drives me everywhere because I don't drive, that Saturday is my sit in the chair all day and not move much. And even though, I might, I'll probably be fine, but having this idea of having a day where I do absolutely nothing except sit and recuperate is helping me get through the week, I think. And also, this is something that I talked to someone on Twitter about, the fact that Saturdays are often an emotionally fraught day. I'm so tired, but I feel compelled to do other things or non-work things, get everything else done, and it sort of freaks me out, or it means I'm sort of emotionally kind of on edge a lot of times on Saturdays, much more so than Sundays, which is weird. But so that's why I've decided to kind of call Saturday and even put little stickers in my planner, the sit on the couch all day, or the rest to recuperate, and also to preemptive rest for the upcoming week, to kind of fill up the tank by not doing anything, because that's how I fill up the tank, except hopefully read a lot. So yeah. So my reading is, so I really kind of wanted to be finished with The Stand. I'm listening to it on audio, and it's getting exciting. I think maybe one of the climactic things has already happened, and it's sort of going towards its, I only have a couple of, maybe even like 2 hours left, and I would recommend The Stand for almost everyone. I do think it is really very readable, unless you hate anything dystopian. King's a good writer, but he's just not literary. He's also not, some non-literary people I can't read. I mean, I even had issues with like Geraldine Brooks, was it her name? People of the Book. It was okay. But because of, I don't know, I would recommend The King. I think it's good for almost everyone. As I said, it's like good TV, or at least watchable TV. It's not the best TV. I should probably talk more about it. I'm watching some interesting shows, and I'm actually, to be honest, I am very excited that there's going to be a third season of Succession, because I love that show. If any of you watch Succession on HBO. Also Insecure, that's another great show. Anyway, I digress from reading to TV stuff. And so my 2 books, I have Blood Meridian going, and I'm not that much further. I'm on 76. It's wonderful and amazing, and it is gory. There is a lot of death, destruction, violence, and I have a feeling I've heard about this judge that's going to come up and it's going to be freaky. But for some reason, it's not putting me in it. It's not freaking me out. It's not kind of giving me nightmares. I mean, I just love the language so much. So it's kind of, there was a description of how the blood of these, I'm sorry, but it is kind of dark. The blood of these corpses they were all in a church, and it would describe the blood and how the blood was flowing around in such a poetic, beautiful way. I think he's just kind of trying to do something here with the violence, and he's saying something about America and American history that has to be said in this way, and he does it really, really well. And also I was just thinking about how it focuses on this, and there's not really a lot of plot, but there is a narrative thread. There's this one, the main guy is this kid who I don't know if he's named ever, and we follow his life, so to speak. We followed him from his birth. We see him, and he sort of falls from one weird adventure to another. So it does kind of read like a picaresque novel, or, you know, for lack of a better term, the German professor says a Bildungsroman, although I'm not quite sure what kind of Bildung this person's getting. Bildung is this German term for education, or like the formation of character and intellect together. That's Bildung. Bildung, it has the word Bild in it, so it's not just education, it's sort of more universal. But anyway, trust the German person to think of Blood Meridian as a weird kind of Bildungsroman, but, or at least picaresque, you know, like Grimm's House and the Meridian, which I haven't read, but the Simplicism was the, I think, 14th century novel of this person going from, oh, Don Quixote, there you go, which is admittedly a book that I have tried twice to read and not succeeded. Maybe I will one day. I remember enjoying it. I think it was funny, but it was not arresting me enough to continue. So I set it aside. So tell me in the comments to read Don Quixote because it's amazing. So that's that. And then there was a short period where I was thinking I need to only read one book and finish it because of my slow reading, and I want to get one done. But then I thought, no, I like to sort of enter into these worlds, even though I'm not a reader who can read a lot of books at the same time. I do like to have different options, and so I did continue with The Door. The Door was the one that I was going to put aside, but I wanted to come back to it, and I'm really glad I did, because even though I'm still not very far, we had this lovely, so I hate to bring up the term, but I am going to bring it up, Kafkaesque. So the way that this lady, the cleaning whatever lady, Emerence, has entered into, she's such a strange person, and she treats the people so strangely, and they interact with her in such a strange way, and not a, you know, that it's dark but interesting and funny. It does remind me of Kafka. I hate to say it, but I'm just in this chapter where this dog is found in the snow and adopted by the lady Emerence, but the way she treats the dog is really weird. Like the narrator says she's the mistress of the dog, and just as an example of the absurd but wonderful aspect of this book, the dog is a male dog, but she decided to call it Viola, and there's no explanation given as to why she just decides to call her male dog Viola. Why Viola? Which I think is a great name. I kind of want to pet and call her Viola, but it's just kind of a little hint of the absurdist nature of this book. And I love this novel because I really have no clue where it's going. Is it going to go in a darker direction or less dark? I mean, I hesitate to call it dark, but it is kind of dark. I mean, she sort of mistreats everyone a little bit, and also the narrator has this idea that she's hoarding items from Jewish people who were sent to their deaths, which is kind of dark, but that could also just be the paranoia of the narrator. She's obsessed with the items that this person has in her house, and also one of the sort of interesting moments is that Emerence, the lady, doesn't let anyone into her house, and so the narrator, the sort of person that Emerence cleans their house, she's obsessed with the house because she can't get into it. which is, you know, also kind of strange. And the writing is I mean, it's not as poetic and lyrical as Blood Meridian, but it is very good. It's very, very, it is, you know, this is literature. This is not Stephen King, you know, this is something different, and I'm very glad to be reading it. I love it. So yeah, and I'm kind of trying to think if there's anything else going on or anything. I've given up on cast. Probably won't even go to the book club. I might go to the lecture. Well, we'll see. I'm busy, and I do have to be, you know, careful about my energy stuff. And well, the only new thing that I have to add here is that it looks like I might be, I'm not entirely sure yet, we have to get sort of, I might be teaching a shortened version of the fairy tale course, even in this semester. We'll see. And that will make me even busier, but I can handle it, and it will be fun, and I'll talk about fairy tales. I have a kind of interesting relationship to them. I mean, I don't gravitate to reading retellings of fairy tales, but when I get to where I have to teach them, I do kind of think they're very interesting as an artifact almost, as opposed to literary. They're not literary in the same sense that, you know, novels are, like, you know, some novels, but they're interesting historical artifacts, and literature, the literariness of them, or the literary quality does play a role to a certain degree. But yeah, more on that later. And yeah, this is just going to be a very short update because that's all I have to say. Hope everyone is doing well. Please leave comments. I hope everyone is doing well. And yeah, I'm repeating myself, so I guess that means I should stop the video, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.